Tajweed, sometimes rendered as Tajwid, refers to the rules governing pronunciation during recitation of the Quran. The term is derived from the triliteral root jwd, meaning to make well, make better, improve. Tajweed is a fard when reciting the Quran to the best of one's ability. Arabic alphabet and grammar. The Arabic alphabet has 29 basic letters. The Arabic word for the is al. The lam in al is pronounced if the letter after it is kamariya, but if the letter after it is shamsa, the lam after it becomes part of the following letter. Solar and lunar became descriptions for these instances, as the words for the moon and the sun are examples of this rule. Emission points. There are 17 emission points of the letters, located in various regions of the throat, tongue, lips, nose, and the mouth as a whole for the prolonged letters. The manner of articulation refers to the different attributes of the letters. Some of the characteristics have opposites, while some are individual. An example of a characteristic would be the fricative consonant sound called saphir, which is an attribute of air escaping from a tube. Thickness and thinness. The emphatic consonants, known as mufakham letters, are pronounced with a heavy accent. This is done by either pharyngealization, pronounced while squeezing one's voice box, or by velarization. The remaining letters, the murakak, have a light accent, as they are pronounced normally, without pharyngealization, is heavy when accompanied by a father adama and light when accompanied by kasra. If its vowel sound is cancelled, such as by a sukun at the end of a sentence, then it is light when the first preceding voweled letter has a kasra. It is heavy if the first preceding voweled letter is accompanied by a father adama. For example, the at the end of the first word of the surat al-Isra is heavy because the has a father. Prolongation. Prolongation refers to the number of murray that are pronounced when a voweled letter is followed by a mud letter. The number of murray then becomes 2. If these are at the end of the sentence, such as in all the verses in Al-Fatiha, then the number of murray can be more than 2, but must be consistent from verse to verse. Additionally, if there is a madda sign over the mud letter, it is held for 4 or 5 murray when followed by a hamza and 6 murray when followed by a shadda. For example, the end of the last verse in Al-Fatiha has a 6 murray madda due to the shadda on the. The following has the same diacritic marks as in most printed copies of the Qur'an. It slightly differs from the full diacriticized system used in modern Standard Arabic. The following sentence is with the modern Standard Arabic full diacriticized system. Sakana letters, nun sakana and tanwin. Nun sakana refers to instances where the letter nun is accompanied by a tanwin, a sukun sign. There are then 4 ways it should be pronounced, depending on which letter immediately follows bulsa. The nun sound is pronounced clearly without additional modifications when followed by letters of the throat. Consider the nun with a sukun pronounced regularly in the beginning of the last verse in Al-Fatiha iqlab. The nun sound is converted to a permita sound if it is followed by a. Additionally, it is pronounced in agana. Consider the nun sound on the tanwin on the letter dal that is pronounced as a mim instead in the chapter al-Kafirun. Idfam. The nun sound is not pronounced when followed by or. There is also agana if it is followed by or another. Idfam only applies between 2 words and not in the middle of a word. Consider, for example, the nun that is not pronounced in the 5th line in the call to prayer. Ikfa. The nun sound is not fully pronounced if it is followed by any letters other than those already listed, includes agana. Consider the nun that is suppressed in the 2nd verse of the chapter Al-Falaq. Mim sakana. The term mim sakana refers to instances where the letter mim is accompanied by a sukun. There are then 3 ways it should be pronounced, depending on which letter immediately follows. Idfam mutamatsilan when followed by another mim. The mim is then merged with the following mim and includes agana. Ikfa shafawi, the mim is suppressed and when followed by it includes a ghana. Isa shafawi, the mim is pronounced clearly with no amendment when followed by any letters other than those already listed. Kalkala, the 5 kalkala letters of the consonant sand. Kalkala is the addition of a slight bounce, or reduced vowel sound to the consonant whose vowel sound is otherwise cancelled, such as by a sukun, shadda, or the end of sentence. The lesser bounce occurs when the letter is in the middle of a word or at the end of the word but the reader joins it to the next word. A medium bounce is given when the letter is at the end of the word but is not accompanied by a shadda, such as the end of the first verse of the Surat Al-Falaq. The biggest bounce is when the letter is at the end of the word and is accompanied by a shadda, such as the end of the first verse of Surat Al-Masad. Stop signs. Stop signs, i.e. indications to pause, are manners. Manners of the heart. Understanding the origin of the word. One should understand that the Qur'an is not the word of man. The reader should throw away all other thoughts. One should understand the meaning. One should be humble. One should feel that every message in the Qur'an is meant personally for himself or herself. External manners. One should be vigilant of the purity of body, clothes, and place. One is encouraged to face the Qibla. One should stop at aversive warning and seek protection with Allah. One should stop at a verse of mercy and ask Allah for mercy. One should use pure literary Arabic pronunciation, in addition to pronouncing the letter as, not as. One should have wudu and read only for the sake of God.